You have these 60-minute producers who are living in comfort and security in their West End condos, trying to make us feel sympathetic for these monsters? Have you seen the tattoos, the face tattoos, the body tattoos on these killers? Would one 60 Minutes producer or writer agree to spend 30 minutes? I'll make a deal.
All right, forget about the yelling for a second. The real story isn't the volume, it's the power. Because once the network starts pulling segments at the last minute, the question becomes simple. Who made that call and why? And if the public already doesn't trust the press, the way you rebuild the trust is transparency, not silence.
We will pick someone at random that we sent to CCOT, just a random lottery drawing, and they will spend one day overnight in your apartment. Who was taking that deal at 60 Minutes? Nobody, because they know that these are monsters who got exactly what they deserved.
I don't know why he's yelling like that, but earlier this week, Stephen Miller had some very harsh words for the producers of 60 Minutes. Jank, I got to get your 2 cents on that tirade that we just heard.
So the more important part of this story is Barry Weiss take over CBS and which direction she's taking it. But wait till you see the quotes about the Ellisons. So that's Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, and his son David Ellison, who is now has bought CBS. So there will be changes, and we're going to tell you about those changes. They've also bought TikTok. There'll be massive changes there as well. And they're trying to buy CNN. And why are they doing that? Well, some of you might already know why they're doing that, but amazing revelations in this article, things I did not know about the Ellisons, you're definitely going to want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot jam-packed into this one story. So CBS News has been engulfed in controversy ever since the editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, decided to pull a 60-minute segment on CCOT at the very last minute. So Weiss explained her decision to the staff of CBS News in a memo, and we have some expert excerpts from that memo here. So she said, right now, the majority of Americans say they do not trust the press. It isn't because they're crazy. To win back their trust, we have to work hard. Sometimes that means doing more legwork. Sometimes it means holding a piece about a controversial subject to make sure it is comprehensive and fair.
Here's what's interesting. That memo is basically a PR perfect explanation. We're just doing more legwork. We're just being fair. Okay, but fairness is measurable. If the government sent written responses, that fair move is to include them, summarize them, or explain why they weren't used. Because once you pull a piece at the last minute, the audience doesn't assume quality control. They assume pressure. And that's the fastest way to lose credibility. It looks like you're taking calls from power instead of asking hard questions. So what actually happened behind the scenes and who benefits?
Okay, so that's the reason that she is giving for why they pulled the CCOT piece. So there are conflicting accounts, however, of what actually happened to that pulled segment. According to a source who spoke to Axios, CBS News reached out to the Trump administration for comment. The White House Department of Homeland Security and the State Department all issued written responses, but none of those responses were included in the final segment. However, according to 60 Minutes, to a correspondent, Sharon Alfonsi, she said, we requested responses to questions and or interviews with DHS, the White House, and the State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto. Their refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. So yeah, this was a huge story when it blew up, that there was this piece that was detailing, and there were clips of it that were floating around. I think you could also, if you had a VPN, you could still access it. I didn't watch it myself personally, but I did see some clips, and it was like very graphically detailing what is actually going on at these immigrant detention centers like CCOT. It didn't look good. It didn't make the Trump administration look good. It felt unnecessarily cruel. And you have to assume that that is the real reason why it was pulled, because it didn't make Trump look good. Jank, I know you've got more. What do you say?
Yeah. No, look, they're not hiding it anymore. As you know, one of the quotes from the New York Times piece says, Mr. Trump has privately said Larry Ellison assured him that he would turn CBS News, which the Ellisons took over, when they bought Paramount into a more conservative outlet.
Okay, this is the part that everyone should pay attention to. Not personalities, not the shouting, the structure. When ownership changes, the editorial incentives change. And whether it's conservative, liberal, or corporate friendly, the danger is the same. News becomes strategy. If a sitting president believes a network will move to favor him, that's not a small accusation. That's a direct threat to the independent journalism. And it raises a real question. Are we watching reporting or are we watching a business negotiation happen in the public? To be clear, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you what to demand. Receipts, transparency, and clear editorial standards.
Two people with knowledge of the president's comments said. So look, as you're going to see later, Larry Ellison doesn't really care about conservative or liberal. He only cares about Israel. But in this case, in order to help Israel, he's saying to Trump, yeah, we'll bury any news that's bad about you, and we'll highlight news that, or pretend that there's news that's good for you. And so, look, a lot of these traditional media outlets have always been for propaganda purposes, but now this is a new layer of it where they're just being brazen and they're saying, yes, this is not really news. This is propaganda. For the moment being, it's propaganda to help Donald Trump. But really, of course, there's a second reason, as we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah, and one of the things also that is that stands out about this piece is that this is all happening kind of in the middle of everything that is happening with CBS and with people like Stephen Colbert and all the they're pulling funding from all these different outlets that we're used to having. They're compromising what is actually being reported to the people, and they're saying that they're doing it for whatever purpose, but we know that it's really all about censorship. But something of note is that Barry Weiss, she was put in charge of CBS News after Skydance acquired Paramount. So there's also all of these acquisitions and mergers that are happening in the midst of all of this, right? And Barry Weiss is very much a part of all of the transformation of the media that this administration is trying to do. So David Ellison is the CEO of Skydance, and his father, Larry Ellison, is the CEO of Oracle and David's business partner. So Barry Weiss is an outspoken critic of American liberals. She is now accused of pushing the Trump administration's interests. But according to the New York Times, there's another big issue that is even more important to the heads of Paramount. So Larry Ellison was once a stalwart Clinton era Democrat, but he has gravitated toward Trump in large part because of the president's support for Israel. Several people who have spoken to him said both Ellisons are close to Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, whom one associate described as like an uncle figure to David Ellison. So Cenk, this sounds super boring, but like it's just Israel all over again. Like Israel is not only, paying off all of our politicians and our Congress people, but they're also very, very much affecting our media and the news that is transmitted to Americans and the ways in which that news is transmitted to Americans.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It's in the New York Times.
If you want the press to earn back trust, it starts with one rule: sunlight. Who made the call? What was the call and why? Drop your takes in the comments. Was this editorial judgment or outside pressure? If you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. Straight fire politics, no games, just receipts.